Hey everybody and welcome to That's Football. You know, transfer news, it can be a little bit like a Manchester United corner, full of promise and hope, but ultimately never leads to anything. Well, I think we've got 4 transfer stories for you this morning, which all of them could come true. We're going to start off with what would be a sensational deal and one that would definitely upset Jurgen Klopp and potentially a lot of Liverpool fans. Sadio Mane to Chelsea, back in the Premier League next season. What are your thoughts on this? What are the chances of it happening? Well, look, Sadio Mane is without doubt a fantastic player. I would presume a Liverpool legend. But his move from Liverpool to Bayern Munich felt ill-advised at the time. Didn't feel like it was the right thing to do. Obviously, it probably came down to money and wanting to try something new. The reality is Liverpool have fell off without Mane. I don't think that's the full reason why they fell off. And Mane's move at Bayern hasn't gone to plan either. Bust-ups, punch-ups, all sorts of problems. He will be leaving Bayern Munich. That is the story coming out of Germany. The relationship there is not great, and Bayern Munich would be looking to build something different without Mane this summer. The interesting thing is where the destination will be. Multiple sources are verifying that Chelsea have an interest in Sadio Mane this summer. Now hold your horses for a moment, because people are going to start saying, we don't need Mane, we've got Madueke, we've got Mudryk, we've got loads of people, we don't need another attacking winger beginning with M. Well, this Mane player is pretty decent and pretty well proven in the highest level at the Premier League and suits the Premier League really, really well. I think if Chelsea had an opportunity to get Mane, they'd be very, very well advised to go and do it. Apparently, as part of Pochettino's discussions, he has suggested the name Mane. Now, I agree, it would be ridiculous. However, when you look at the Chelsea situation, of course, you've got Mount, you've got Madueke, you've got Mudryk, you've got Pulisic, you've got Ziyech, you've got Sterling, and that's 6 that I can think of, all who pretty much play where Mane wants to play. And Chelsea need an out-and-out striker. But if you're Pochettino and you look at that and go, well, I don't rate Sterling, I don't really rate Mudryk, I don't rate Madueke, I'm going to get rid of Pulisic, Mount and Ziyech. That leaves me with 3 I'm not sure about and 1 I really, really want. And this is the problem that Chelsea were always going to face. They throw money around like confetti and they buy loads and loads of players. But when you get a new manager, they're not that manager's pick. And that manager will walk in like any manager walks in and goes, I want this player and this player. And if I'm Pochettino, to be honest with you, I'm probably saying, yeah, I do want Osman and Mane, or I do want Kane and Mane, because I think those 2 players in this squad will take us to the next level. We're struggling to score goals. We've been quite good defensively. Give me those 2 players. I think we'll straight into the top 4, which is where we want to be. We might even do better than that. So you can see why Chelsea would want to do it. I think he'd fit Chelsea really, really well. I think he's got a point to prove. He's only just turned 31. I think people think Mane's older than he actually is. He would be a fantastic signing. It's hard to see where else he would go as well, because from Bayern Munich, you're thinking Premier League return, PSG, Real Madrid, Barcelona. I don't think any of those clubs are looking at Sadio Mane seriously. Maybe PSG, but not Real Madrid or Barcelona. So Premier League return, would Liverpool go back in for him? I think that door is closed. Not because Liverpool wouldn't welcome him back or Klopp wouldn't welcome him back, but because Liverpool aren't really that club that can go, yeah, come back to us at 31. We don't really have a spot in the team for you and we'll give you big wages. Liverpool have invested in the likes of a Diaz, a Gakpo, a Jota. They've got lots of attackers. That's not what Liverpool's issue is. I think it would hurt Liverpool and I think it would hurt Jurgen Klopp to see Sadio Mane back in the Premier League, and maybe that would prevent Mane from doing it. But at the end of the day, football is football, business is business. You only get one career, and I think a move to Chelsea for Mane, if that's the deal that Pochettino wants, makes a lot of sense. So get your comments in below. What are your thoughts, Liverpool fans? What are your thoughts, Chelsea fans? And what are your thoughts like me, who support neither and look at it and go, I can see it making a lot of sense. I could see it being a really good signing for Chelsea. It's not often that you can pick up a player that a club wants to sell, who's not going to be ridiculously expensive, who is still very, very good, and is quite clearly going to drop into that Chelsea side and probably pick up from where he was a year or 2 ago at Liverpool. I think it makes a hell of a lot of sense. I would also say, if I'm Arsenal, I'm looking at it. If I'm Spurs, I'm looking at it. I mean, he's not going to go Man City, he's not going to go Man United, of course. It's too close to Liverpool rivalry there. But he might fancy Arsenal, he might fancy Chelsea, he might even fancy Spurs if they've got the money, because it's London, it's far enough away from Liverpool, but it's Premier League. I think that's a really interesting deal. Let me know what your thoughts are on that. Just sticking with London, by the way, Fabrizio Romano is saying that Saka, Arsenal, is going to sign a new contract till 2028. Fantastic deal for Arsenal. I think if you'd asked me a year ago, I would have said Arsenal fighting for fifth. Saka's a fantastic player. He's going to outgrow Arsenal. Ultimately, they're going to have to sell him to Real Madrid or Man City or something at some point in the next 3 or 4 years. I think this is the great thing about Arsenal's progression this last year, is that they're satisfying Arteta's ambitions. They are satisfying Arteta's ambitions, but they're also satisfying Saka's ambitions. And as long as Arsenal can replicate seasons like this season, next season, and the season after, and the season after that, why would Saka leave? If you can compete for the Premier League and be in the Champions League, why would he need to go anywhere? Unless he's got an absolute dream to play for Barcelona, Real Madrid, or Manchester City. I don't see any reason. And certainly I would say is that it sort of starts to close the door on a Premier League move. I think with Arsenal, they've seen players go from their club to Man United, like Van Persie, and a few have gone to Man City because their aspirations don't match that of other clubs. But if they can be aspirational and challenging in the Premier League, then their only real issue with someone like Saka is if a Real Madrid or a Barcelona came in. So it's good news for Arsenal, that. I'm going to talk about Real Madrid again in a moment, but let's just stick with a story that I think is so nailed on. I almost feel, guilty mentioning it. But James Maddison to Newcastle has been mentioned by the Telegraph. I think Maddison will leave Leicester, whether they stay up or not. I think he wanted to go last summer. He's a really good player, Maddison, and you could see why a Man United or a Liverpool or an Arsenal would get linked to him. But I don't think he starts for any of those clubs. I think he's a very good player, but I don't think he's quite the level of a Bruno Fernandes or an Odegaard. In fact, far from it, or anywhere near a De Bruyne, obviously. But there's 2 clubs that stand out for me for Maddison, really, and it's whether either of them go for him. Tottenham, I think, would be a very good move for him, especially if Harry Kane leaves, because they don't have a number 10, and Harry Kane does a lot of that sort of creativity. And Newcastle as well, they sort of lack an out-and-out number 10 as well. So I think those two clubs fit him like a glove, and I think that Newcastle will probably be his destination, because Newcastle will probably offer Champions League football and money, and it's a very exciting project for a player where you can walk straight into a team and know you're going to start from the start, because they don't have a player like you. So I think it's very logical that James Maddison probably will end up at Newcastle, which takes me back to Real Madrid and another story coming out. I think it was the Telegraph as well. Real Madrid about to reignite their interest in Kylian Mbappe this summer. Look, Messi looks like he's going to go. They're talking about Neymar leaving as well. Could they lose Neymar, Messi and Mbappe? Well, I don't know whether this will be the summer that Mbappe goes. I don't know and follow that area of football enough to know where Mbappe's head is at. But I do look at Real Madrid and I go, how many more years can they be totally reliant on Benzema? I was watching them against Man City the other night and I was like, if Benzema pulled his hamstring or something like this now, that would be it for Real Madrid. Like they are so, what a player, but age-wise it has to be a concern. But also there is no alternative, and we're talking about Real Madrid here, and they've got fantastic players. I mean, Bellingham's going to go there. Their wingers are great. Their midfield's good. Their centre backs are good. We saw that the other night. I think they need full-backs, and I think they need a striker. And if they're going to go for a striker, obviously they would like Erling Haaland, but he's at Manchester City. So where do you go next? You go Kylian Mbappe. So will this be the summer that we see Mbappe to Real Madrid? Because one of the big things I was going to say is, who do you think will be the biggest signing of the summer? What is going to be the marquee signing of the summer? I think there's a few contenders there. Harry Kane could be one. Bellingham could be one. Could be an English player. But I think if Mbappe's on the move, I mean, some people might say Messi back to Barcelona would be big. It would be big. There'd be more romance in that than actual. I think that's an amazing signing for the future of Barcelona and Messi. But it would be a nice, end to his career at the highest level. But I think if Mbappe goes to Real Madrid, that's got to be the signing of the summer. Will it be this summer? Let's wait and see. So don't forget to smash a like, subscribe, get your comments in below. That's Football, the place for all of you to get involved. We do the watch-alongs, but we also do daily topical stuff like this as well. Make sure you get involved. Thanks for watching. I'll speak to you all in a bit. And if you like driving with Goldbridge, I've got a new episode coming up for you this afternoon on my channel if you enjoy that. I won't drop a link in the video description because it's not out yet, but it is out later on. Speak to you in a bit.